someone asks you a question you don't want to answer honestly. For a fraction of a second before you even open your mouth, something moves across your face. You don't feel it happen, you don't choose it. It's gone before you're even aware it occurred. But the real answer to what just happened isn't about being a bad liar. It's about a signal your face has been sending for longer than language itself has existed, and no amount of practice fully shuts it off. Think about how strange this actually is. You can control your words completely. You can plan a lie in advance, rehearse it, deliver it smoothly, and yet some part of your face still leaks the truth anyway, in a flicker so fast most people never consciously register it. In the 1960s, a psychologist named Paul Ekman began documenting something that would define his entire career. While studying facial expressions across cultures, Ekman noticed brief, involuntary facial movements that appeared and vanished in a fraction of a second, often less than half a second, sometimes as short as a 20th of a second. He called them microexpressions. Unlike the expressions you consciously perform, a practiced smile, a deliberate frown, microexpressions happen before your conscious mind has time to intervene. They're not a choice, they're closer to a reflex. So where does a reflex this fast and this specific come from? Ekman's research, along with decades of work that followed, pointed to something deeper than simple nervousness. These fleeting expressions appeared to be linked to a small set of universal emotions: fear, anger, disgust, contempt, surprise, sadness, and happiness. Ekman's cross-cultural studies, including work with isolated populations that had almost no exposure to Western media, found that people across radically different cultures produced remarkably similar facial expressions for these same core emotions. That consistency suggested something evolutionary, not learned, a shared inheritance sitting underneath every human face regardless of language or upbringing. Picture what facial expression actually is, biologically. It's not decoration. It's communication, running through muscles that respond faster than conscious thought, evolved long before humans had words to explain what they were feeling. For most of human history, the ability to instantly read another person's true emotional state wasn't a party trick. It was survival information. Is this person a threat? Are they hiding hostility behind a calm face? Is their fear genuine, meaning danger is actually near? A group that could quickly detect deception, concealed anger, or hidden fear in each other had a real advantage over a group that couldn't. Reading true emotion fast, before words got involved, meant reading intention before it turned into action. That means your face was never really built to keep a secret. It was built to reveal one, whether you wanted it to or not. Now here's where deception specifically comes into play. Lying requires something your brain has to actively manage in real time. You have to suppress your genuine emotional reaction and simultaneously construct a false one. That's two competing processes running at once, both demanding resources from the same system. In 1996, Ekman, along with researcher Mark Frank, published research examining exactly this kind of high-stakes deception, studying what happens when people lie about something that genuinely matters to them, not a trivial lab experiment lie, but one with real consequences attached. Their findings suggested that under this kind of pressure, the genuine emotional response often leaks through anyway, briefly, before the constructed expression fully takes over. Your brain can build a convincing fake smile. What it struggles to do is prevent the real expression from firing first, even for a fraction of a second, before the fake one arrives to cover it. This is where most people misunderstand what a microexpression actually looks like in the wild. It's not a dramatic, obvious flash across someone's face. It's subtle. A tightening around the eyes that vanishes almost instantly, a brief downward pull at the corners of the mouth, a flash of the upper eyelid raising just slightly before it drops back down. Most people, in ordinary conversation, miss these completely, not because they're not paying attention, but because half a second is simply faster than conscious perception typically operates. That raises an interesting question. If nobody consciously catches these signals most of the time, why did evolution bother keeping them? Some researchers have proposed that this happens below the level of conscious awareness precisely because it's more useful there. You may not consciously register the microexpression, but there's evidence that some of this information gets processed anyway, contributing to a vague, hard-to-explain feeling that something is off, even when you can't say exactly why. That uneasy sense that someone isn't being fully honest with you, without any specific evidence you could point to, may be your brain catching a signal your conscious mind never fully registered. Think about how often people describe this exact experience. Something felt wrong. I couldn't explain it. I just had a feeling. That feeling might not be intuition in the mystical sense people often mean. It might be your ancient facial reading system doing exactly the job it evolved to do, just operating faster than the part of your brain responsible for narrating what's happening. Here's where it gets more complicated and more interesting. Not every flicker across someone's face means they're lying. This is one of the most common misunderstandings about microexpressions, one that Ekman himself spent years trying to correct. A brief expression of anxiety doesn't automatically mean deception. Someone might be nervous because they're being accused of something they didn't do. Someone might show a flash of discomfort simply because the question itself feels invasive, true or false answer aside. Microexpressions reveal emotion. They don't, on their own, reveal the specific reason behind that emotion. This distinction matters enormously, and it's exactly where popular culture tends to get the science wrong, turning microexpressions into a kind of superpower lie detector. In reality, trained investigators and researchers describe reading them accurately as genuinely difficult, requiring extensive practice, and even then, the information they provide is a piece of a larger puzzle, not a verdict on its own. So what does this actually mean for you, in an ordinary conversation, with no training in facial analysis at all? It means that a huge amount of emotional truth is constantly moving across the faces of everyone you interact with, faster than either of you can consciously track. Most of it you'll never catch directly, but your brain may be catching fragments of it anyway, quietly, in the background, shaping the vague sense you get about a person before you've consciously decided anything about them. There's something almost humbling about this. You've spent your entire life assuming your face was mostly under your control. In the calm, ordinary moments, it mostly is. But in a split second right before a lie, in the moment genuine fear or anger or discomfort first registers, your face runs on older, faster circuitry, the same circuitry your ancestors relied on to read danger and deception in each other, long before anyone invented a word for lying. Someone asks you a question you don't want to answer honestly. For a fraction of a second, before you even open your mouth, something moves across your face, and now you understand what that flicker actually is. Not a slip, not a mistake. Just the oldest, fastest part of your communication system, doing exactly what it evolved to do, whether you meant to let it speak or not.